Rick Perry has gotten the memo that Frank Luntz is trying to send to all the Republicans, which is that trying to protect the rich and the bankers on Wall Street is very bad politics. We've got to find a clever way of doing it. Doesn't mean we're not going to do it. We're Republicans, but we've got to be clever about it. And Rick Perry is in very, very bad shape. He's down to 8% in South Carolina in the polling. Are you ready for this? In Florida, he's down to 2%. So now, if you're that desperate, you got to try something that might actually reach the voters. I know for a Republican, that's kind of weird. But so what he's done is he's taken a populist route. He's going to go anti-Wall Street. Let's go to clip one.
We shouldn't be awarding taxpayer-funded bonuses to Wall Street executives who defrauded those very same taxpayers. We ought to be locking them up.
Look at that. You've got the very conservative governor of Texas talking about locking up the bankers. Does he mean it? Of course not. But look at the language that he's using. I mean, that is more out there than almost any progressive, let alone conservatives who, of course, want to surround the bankers with like fluffy pillows and drop chocolates and raspberries in their hair. And I don't know why they'd want to drop them in their hair. But nonetheless, you see my point. Perry keeps going. Watch.
No more bailouts. Whether we're talking about bailing out bankers in America or we're talking about bankers in Europe, no more bailouts. It continues with my pledge to end wasteful earmarks. And I won't stop until Congress and the American people pass a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution.
All right, now let me tell you how full of crap Rick Perry is. So what are his proposals for no more bailouts and to get tough on the bankers? Of course, it's to do the exact opposite. He wants to get rid of the Dodd-Frank financial reform, which wasn't very tough to begin with, but that would mean you'd have almost no regulation of the bankers. It'd let them run wild. It's the exact opposite of what he's saying. God, they're all such frauds. And then he talks about, I'm going to cut the earmarks. Wait, that doesn't have anything to do with the bankers. What that means is he's going to cut spending for the middle class. So again, fairly opposite of what he's been talking about in terms of tough populist rhetoric against the banks. And then he says, I'm going to do a balanced budget amendment. Once again, nothing to do with the banks and largely having to do with cutting spending on the middle class. And, he's been doing this for a while now. He had actually hinted at it before. Now there's a full-scale assault. Before he had said that the banking industry has too often been run on greed. Now, look, if Rick Perry has any chance at all, it is through this strategy. Right now, he is dead in the water. But if he goes really populist and taps into that anger that exists in the country, does it from the right-wing side, true or untrue, in terms of politics, it's his best chance and might actually give him a chance to get back in the race. Because, God, it's so topsy-turvy. The attacks against Newt Gingrich are now coming 100 miles an hour. You know how Bachmann and Kaine and everybody else was toppled once we found out what the hell they were about, even for Republican voters? Well, they're about to find out what Newt Gingrich is about. And so is there some chance he's going to get toppled? Of course. And when they look around again at the ruins, if they've got this guy talking about arresting the bankers and showing them who's boss and, then who knows?